The roar of engines fills the air, bombs fall from the sky, cities lie in ruins. This is strategic bombing, a brutal form of warfare that has shaped the 20th and 21st centuries. World War II saw its horrific maturation, with cities like Dresden and Hiroshima reduced to rubble. The Cold War brought a new kind of fear nuclear annihilation. Strategic bombing became synonymous with mutually assured destruction. Despite the end of the Cold War, strategic bombing remains a relevant and controversial aspect of modern warfare. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine provides a stark reminder of its enduring power. Understanding strategic bombing is essential for comprehending the complexities of modern conflict. In the heat of battle, it's easy to conflate tactics and strategy. However, these are distinct concepts that are crucial for understanding warfare. Tactics are the specific actions taken to achieve a particular objective on the battlefield. They are the how of warfare. A flanking maneuver, a surprise attack, or the use of a particular weapon system are all examples of tactics. Strategy, on the other hand, is the overarching plan for achieving victory in a war. It is the why of warfare. Strategy dictates the allocation of resources, the choice of targets, and the overall approach to the conflict. A successful military campaign requires a coherent strategy that guides tactical decisions. The relationship between tactics and strategy is symbiotic. Tactics must be aligned with the overall strategy to be effective. Conversely, strategy must be flexible enough to adapt to changing tactical situations. Warfare is not static. Throughout history, technological advancements and shifts in military thinking have led to profound changes in the way wars are fought. These revolutions in military affairs have reshaped battlefields and redefined the nature of conflict. The rise of mass armies during the Napoleonic Wars is a prime example. This period saw the emergence of new forms of military organization, training, and logistics. The invention of gunpowder, the development of the airplane, and the advent of nuclear weapons are all examples of revolutions in military affairs. Finally, there are daily military innovations. These are incremental improvements in existing technologies or tactics that occur constantly during peacetime and wartime. Understanding these different levels of military change is crucial for grasping the evolution of strategic bombing. From the rudimentary bombing raids of World War I to the precision strikes of the 21st century, strategic bombing has been shaped by technological advancements and evolving military doctrines. Technology has always played a pivotal role in warfare. However, the 21st century has witnessed an unprecedented acceleration in technological innovation. This has profound implications for strategic bombing, blurring the lines between conventional and unconventional warfare. In the past, strategic bombing required massive air fleets and complex logistics. Today, a single individual with access to advanced technology can inflict significant damage. Drones, cyber weapons, and even commercially available satellites have given non-state actors capabilities once reserved for nation-states. The democratization of technology has lowered the barriers to entry for those seeking to engage in strategic bombing. Terrorist organizations can now target critical infrastructure, disrupt financial markets, or spread disinformation with relative ease. The impact of individual actions is amplified by technology, creating a more volatile and unpredictable security environment. The Russia-Ukraine conflict provides a glimpse into this new era of warfare. The dual goals of strategic bombing: crushing concrete, shattering spirits. Strategic bombing, at its core, seeks to achieve two primary goals. The first is the physical destruction of the enemy's war-making capacity. This involves targeting factories, power plants, transportation hubs, and other critical infrastructure. By crippling the enemy's ability to produce weapons, transport troops, and sustain its war effort, strategic bombing aims to grind the enemy's war machine to a halt. However, the second and arguably more important goal of strategic bombing is psychological. By targeting civilian populations and creating widespread terror, strategic bombing aims to break the enemy's morale and erode its will to fight. The bombing of Dresden during World War II is a stark example of the dual goals of strategic bombing. The ethics of targeting civilians remain a subject of intense debate. The debate over the morality of strategic bombing is likely to continue as long as war remains a part of the human experience. Strategic piracy, asymmetric warfare in the modern age. Non-state actors have developed innovative ways to level the playing field against more powerful adversaries. One such strategy is strategic piracy, a term coined by Israeli military historian Martin van Creveld. It involves targeting civilian infrastructure to inflict economic damage and undermine state legitimacy. Unlike traditional piracy, strategic piracy is driven by political objectives. By striking at a nation's economic and social fabric, they aim to erode public support for the government. It can take many forms, from attacks on oil tankers to cyber attacks on financial institutions. The rise of strategic piracy challenges traditional notions of warfare and security. Hezbollah and Hamas, masters of strategic piracy. The Middle East has become a breeding ground for strategic piracy, with groups like Hezbollah and Hamas employing this tactic to great effect. Hezbollah, a Shiite militant group based in Lebanon, has long used strategic piracy to challenge Israeli hegemony in the region. From its early days as a guerrilla organization, Hezbollah recognized the value of striking at Israeli civilian targets. Rocket attacks on Israeli cities and towns have become a hallmark of Hezbollah's strategy. These attacks, while often inaccurate, serve to terrorize the Israeli population and erode public support for military action. Hamas, the Palestinian militant group that controls the Gaza Strip, has adopted a similar strategy. Rocket attacks on Israeli cities and towns are a regular occurrence, disrupting daily life and creating a constant sense of insecurity. Both Hezbollah and Hamas have successfully exploited the vulnerabilities of modern states. Their tactics have forced Israel to adopt costly defensive measures and have complicated efforts to achieve a lasting peace in the region. Strategic deterrence, the delicate dance of power and fear. In the shadow of nuclear weapons, a new concept of security emerged: strategic deterrence. Deterrence, in its essence, is the art of preventing an action by instilling fear of the consequences. It's a high-stakes game of chess, where the threat of retaliation, rather than actual fighting, maintains a fragile peace. Strategic deterrence relies on a delicate balance of power and credibility. Each side must possess sufficient military might to inflict unacceptable damage on the other. Equally important is the perceived willingness to use that power. The Cold War was the quintessential example of strategic deterrence in action. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, ensured that any nuclear attack would result in the annihilation of both sides. While the Cold War ended decades ago, strategic deterrence remains a cornerstone of international security. Russia's superiority in deterrence communication, a matter of perception. Russia, under Vladimir Putin, has sought to reassert itself as a major power on the world stage. Central to this strategy is a renewed emphasis on military strength and a willingness to use it to advance Russian interests. This has led to a perception among some observers that Russia has gained an advantage in deterrence communication. Russia's rhetoric is often more aggressive and less concerned with international norms than that of Western powers. Putin has not hesitated to use military force in Georgia, Ukraine, and Syria, demonstrating a willingness to escalate conflicts to achieve his objectives. This assertive posture, combined with Russia's nuclear arsenal, has created a perception of resolve that some believe gives Moscow an edge in deterrence. What is clear is that Russia's actions have forced Western policymakers to reassess their own deterrence strategies in an increasingly uncertain world. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, a case study in modern strategic bombing. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine provides a stark illustration of the complexities of strategic bombing in the 21st century. Russia's invasion, launched in February 2022, has been marked by a brutal campaign of aerial bombardment targeting Ukrainian cities, infrastructure, and military installations. Russia's use of strategic bombing in Ukraine appears to be driven by a combination of military and political objectives. Militarily, Russia has sought to degrade Ukraine's ability to resist the invasion by targeting command and control centers, ammunition depots, and troop concentrations. Politically, Russia's bombing campaign aims to demoralize the Ukrainian population, undermine support for the government, and ultimately force a negotiated settlement favorable to Moscow. However, Russia's strategic bombing campaign has thus far failed to achieve its desired objectives. The future of strategic bombing: drones, AI, and the changing face of war. As technology continues to evolve at an exponential pace, the future of strategic bombing is likely to be shaped by emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and autonomous weapons systems. Drones, already a ubiquitous presence on the battlefield, are becoming increasingly sophisticated, capable of carrying out complex missions with minimal human intervention. The integration of AI into weapon systems raises profound ethical and strategic questions. AI-powered drones could potentially select and engage targets without human oversight, raising concerns about accountability and the potential for unintended escalation. Moreover, the proliferation of these technologies could further blur the lines between conventional and unconventional warfare. Establishing norms and treaties to govern the development and use of AI in warfare will be crucial to prevent a future where autonomous weapon systems unleash unimaginable destruction. Ethical considerations. The moral dilemmas of strategic bombing. Strategic bombing raises profound ethical dilemmas. Targeting civilians and infrastructure strikes at our shared humanity. The debate is between military necessity and humanitarianism. Proponents argue it can shorten wars and save lives. Opponents say targeting civilians is never justified. They argue it violates principles of distinction and proportionality. Ethical dilemmas will grow as technology advances. Autonomous weapons raise concerns about machines making life or death decisions. We must engage in a thoughtful debate about the ethical implications.